Good afternoon, everybody. Okay, so every day we recite the verses. For example, refuge and generating bodhicitta. So look at the first sentence, first line. I go for refuge. That means I, the right moment, who practice the Dharma, who believe in law of causality, so go for refuge. How long? Until I am enlightened. So since today, until becoming enlightened, it will take a long time. So what are the refuge? That means Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. So, this is, we making a long plan. So I will take refuge into Buddha as a teacher, or Buddha as a doctor, Dharma as a medicine, Sangha as a nurse. In order to fully cure the sickness, we really need to rely on the perfect doctor, the right medicine, the perfect nurse. If we have three of them, then all disease can be cured. So we have to take refuge into Buddha, Dharma, Sangha until we become a Buddha. That means how we become a Buddha. That means by, right? My accumulation of practice of giving and so forth. May I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. The last line is talking about bodhicitta. The third line talking about practice of 6 perfections. The first and second line is talking about how to take refuge, how long. In this moment, in this life, we are very fortunate because we born in a good place like Singapore with the good conditions. Also, we able to study Dharma. We able to recognize Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Also, not just recognize. We have taken refuge into Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. So, what happened if we born as a human in next life? Then I don't think we can continuously practice, refuge, practice 6 paramitas. So make sure we able to take a rebirth as a human, not only just human, which has all the good conditions. So in order to have these things, so make sure every day, every moment, you should not forget the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Also, you should not forget I'm Buddhist. I follow the Mahayana teaching. I should not harm anybody. Make sure you are always, every day, every moment, you practice, the 10 virtues. If you practice every day, every moment, the 10 virtues, then definitely the next year we can take a rebirth as a human, as a celestial being. Then we have continuously we can practice a Dharma. So among the practice of Dharma, the practice of bodhicitta is very important. So we have to generate bodhicitta, rely on Guru, and also we need to study about bodhicitta. Then we try to, accomplish bodhicitta in this lifetime, this life. After we able to accomplish the bodhicitta, make sure the bodhicitta not going to, weaken. That means there's a true obstacle. Make sure it's not, weaken this life. Make sure it's not going to weaken in next life. Then you must recognize what are the obstacles of this life, what are the obstacles of next life. Then just generating bodhicitta is not enough to achieve Buddhahood. We need to practice the 6 paramitas or 6 perfections. Among the 6 perfections, the number 1 is the generosity, perfection of generosity. So we already had study. So mainly you make sure we need everything. We need a house, of course, we need a food, clothes, money, we need everything. There's no choice. We need. But make sure you should not have a so strong attachment and clinging about your belongings. If you have a very strong attachment or clinging in your belonging, then you always remember your belongings. It makes you a lot of sufferings. So you need to reduce the attachment about your life, about your belongings, about the place where we live. It's the practice of generosity, mainly practice for reduce, the attachment. Second, that we need to practice ethical discipline. Ethically, we need to act ethically. All the action we perform, make sure you act ethically. Make sure you won't harm anybody. Make sure you won't harm yourself. In order to practice the ethical discipline, step number 1, you need to able to practice generosity. There's an order. If you're able to practice generosity, then you're able to practice, ethical discipline. If you're able to practice ethical discipline, then for you very easy to practice the patience. Practice of patience is mainly practice for reduce the hatred, anger. So before we start the new lesson, I will shortly review about the ethical discipline. Page number 148. So how many divisions of ethical discipline? How many types of ethical discipline? 3 types of. What are they? Restraint of living being. Right. That means the number 1, ethical discipline for restraint. That means when you think about the bad thing, make sure you suddenly, restrain the mind from the bad action. Second, the ethical discipline of gathering means you need to practice the 6 paramitas. The third, make sure whatever you act for other welfare of living beings. That means because your life is fully dedicated for others. Among the 3, the first ethical discipline is very important. It look like, the foundation. Here look at it. The ethical discipline of restraint is 7 types of vows of individual liberation. That means we have 7 types of individual vows of individual liberation. Simply we can say, there's 7 types of vows. I hope all of you remember. What are they? What are the 7 types of vows of individual liberation. True full ordained monks and nuns, true novice monks and nuns, then true lay person, men and women. The 6, number 7, just one precept, right, between novice and full ordains. This precept mainly for the nun. Thus give that there are those who have taken individual liberation and are also keeping Bodhisattva vows. It's just a big difficult to understand. That means one practitioner who practices bodhicitta, the practitioner has taken 2 types of vows. One is the individual liberation vow. Second is Bodhisattva vows, right? Then there's another type of person who just has taken the Bodhisattva vows, not the individual liberation vows. Then, the first types of practitioner who against with the vows, that means he against actually the liberation, individual, vows of individual liberations. The second person who just only taken the Bodhisattva vows, when he against, when he engaged in the, negative action, for example, killed, sentient being, killed human being, the practitioner not really against the vows of individual liberation. He against only the natural and second one what? Natural, the second one, there's 2 types, natural and prohibition. Natural and prohibition means, the practitioner who just only taken the Bodhisattva vows. For example, when he killed a human being or sentient being, that means he against the natural kind of vows. That means killing is always bad, is naturally bad. Doesn't matter you have taken vows or not. Always bad. Second, the same person, who has only taken the Bodhisattva vows, and the person, drink alcohol. When he take alcohol, the practitioner not really against the natural kind of vows. It's against with the prohibition. That's why, taking alcohol is not naturally bad. After you taking vows, if you take, the alcohol, then it's bad for you because you are against the vows which is you taking from your master or from your Buddha gurus, right? There's 2 types. Then another important one, I think now that the second one, ethical discipline of gathering virtues. Then the ethical discipline of acting for other welfare of living beings. After you generate bodhicitta, your life fully dedicate for others. That means whatever you do for other benefit. Look like you are a mother, you have children. So the mother always does whatever she does for her child or her children. That means you are look like the good mother. All sentient beings are like your child, your children. That means whatever you act for welfare for living beings. That means as a Mahayan practitioner, we should not discriminate. This person is my friend, those person are my enemy. Me enemy. If you discriminate between people, someone is my friend, someone is my enemy, that means you are not really acting welfare for all living beings. So therefore, since the rule of the vows of individual liberation are one aspect of the precept for renounced who have taken, this I just explained. Now we just move page number 149. Among the three aspects of ethical discipline, that means there's three types of ethical discipline. The ethical discipline of restraint, right, then include and reach to the other two. The include means, the English include means within, right? Include within, but it's not really. We should say the include. We must say. So because when I compare the Tibetan text, sometimes some word is not the correct to use. So here said, within among the three aspects of ethical discipline, the ethical discipline of restraint, it is kind of a root. Everything can grow within if you have the ethical discipline of restraint. It's kind of is a root. The second is a riches to other, right? That means, so if you have ethical discipline of restraint, then you have the root to practice the second, second and third ethical discipline. Also, if you are able to practice the first discipline, then you are able to practice, second and third discipline. So among the three, the first is most important. When you are bound of it and safeguarded it, you will be bound by the other two and safeguard them as well. And when you are neither bound by nor protect it, you will not be bound by the other two nor safeguard them. Right? Then when you are able to practice first, you are able to practice the second and third. When you are not able to practice the first one, then you are not able to practice second and third. Then another say, if you think, that's why many people think this way, if you think that the vows of individual liberation are for Charvaka, for the, Hinayana practitioner. If you think that the vows of individual liberation are for the Charvakas, and if you, kept aside their precept, how you can say it? Yeah, prescriptive and the proscriptive. Ruled and say, so, the practice or against is mainly for the, the Hinayana practitioner, not for us, because we think we are Mahayana practitioner, we don't need. This is the big mistake. The other precept, Bodhisattva precept to turn in, then you have no, grasp the key point of the Bodhisattva training in the ethical discipline. So that's why we should not think, the individual liberation vow is mainly for the Hinayana practitioner. It's also for you. If you think this way, then you don't understand the important practice of Bodhisattva practice. Right? Then now we just move to the summary. Page number 150. look at, not to weaken the increase, steadily, the supreme enlightenment, the basis of Buddhist Chitta, Bodhisattva deeds, is the root of the engage in the deeds of ethical discipline and so forth. So we think we practice the Bodhicitta, we are Mahayana practitioner. So even though the real Bodhisattva who practice Bodhicitta, make sure the Bodhicitta is not weakened, make sure it increase. In order to increase what they need to practice, they need to practice the ethical discipline. The ethical discipline is the basis of Bodhicitta or Bodhisattva deeds. Right? That means usually what we say, the first ethical discipline is look like foundation to increase the Bodhicitta, to make sure is not weakened. If you're not able to practice the first ethical discipline, then you're not able to increase the Bodhicitta. There's a danger to weaken the Bodhicitta. So the first ethical discipline is look like foundation. The next sentence, he said, it is also the best way to desist from harming any living being. That means if you always practice, the first ethical discipline, then you always, desist from harming any living being, because you always practice the 10 virtues. Within the 10 virtues, you can say killing, stealing, all of them. So sometimes we, mistakenly we think, the practicing, the 10 virtues, taking refuge, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, we think this is a very simple practice, right? We think it's a very simple practice. I want to practice more higher level, which is good, you have the good, right motivation, but the way of thinking is not correct. So there's always order, look at, first you must know there's a next life, there was a previous life. If you really, knew there's a next life, there's a previous life, then you need to think how many next life I have to go through. That means if I don't cut the root of the samsara, then I have to go through the samsara forever. So how I can cut the root of the samsara? Then you need to think about, the root of the samsara through, practice of 12 links interdependent. When you think about the 12 links interdependent, then, it look like, first you can see, the fruit is so delicious. You want to eat the fruit continuously. And you need to think where the fruit is come from the branch. The branch come from the trunk. The trunk or the root tree come from the root. If somebody cut the root, then the tree going to die, the branch going to die, then you're not going to have any fruits. That means, we experience the suffering, every day we experience the suffering, suffering by physical or mental suffering, we experience the suffering. We try to understand why I have suffering, all the suffering arising from where. Then you need to go through, study of 12 links interdependent. Then finally you're going to understand, everything arises from the ignorance. You need to cut the ignorance. How you can cut the ignorance? Then I need, the right teacher or right guru to, explain how to cut the root. That means the best teacher, Buddha. The Buddha Shakyamuni is the best teacher who can teach us, who can introduce us how to cut the root of the samsara. That means ignorance. Then slowly you can have a strong belief and faith to Buddha. Then how I can cut? Yes, the Buddha can explain, the Buddha can teach us how to cut. The most important, we need to practice. We need to practice, right? If you don't practice, and then if Buddha just keep explaining, keep teaching, if you don't practice, then even though you know you need to cut, but you're not able to cut the root of samsara. So the root of the samsara you can cut when you're able to understand the emptiness, right? Emptiness. The knowing the emptiness, practice of emptiness, practice of renunciation, bodhicitta, great compassion, those are what we call dharma. Dharma, right? Dharma. Make sure you, because I'm repeating the again. Why we call dharma? For example, practice of compassion is a dharma. Why compassion is dharma? Because if you don't practice compassion, the anger always arising within you. So when an anger arises you within your mind stream, anger destroys your life. That means the anger destroys all the virtues of positive karma, and then you will fall into the lower realms. Then we call fall. The dharma means is hold, it protect, right? So the main protection, protector among the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, the main, the real, protection is the dharma, right? Dharma. When you get sick, the main, factor, is the medicine to cure your disease. But we need a doctor, we need a nurse. Among the three, which is important? The medicine is very important. Dharma is very important. It doesn't mean we don't need Buddha, we don't need Sangha. We need. Make sure Dharma is very important. That's why, among the practice of Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, practice of Dharma is very important. Then, recognize Buddha. Then, try to understand his teaching. Try to understand the meaning. Then practice. Then slowly you yourself become Sangha. Then you can have a Dharma. Finally, you're going to become a Buddha. There's a true order, right? When you take refuge, we take refuge into Buddha, then Dharma, Sangha. When we really, develop the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha within us, first you become what? Sangha. Sangha. Among the three refuge Sangha. Sangha doesn't mean, do you remember? Sangha doesn't mean be monks and nuns. Lay person can be Sangha within the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. You should not think, this person is lay person, he or she is no Sangha. It can be Sangha, but not full ordained. Not Bhikshu and Bhikshuni, but still Sangha. That's why, sometimes we always, have we have a respect, which is very good. We have a, good respect to Sangha, like monks and nuns. Sometimes we don't have enough respect to the lay person. We never know among us, who are Bodhisattvas, who are Buddha. So we must have a respect for, everybody, Sangha. So after you become Sangha, then you follow, after you become Sangha, that means you reach into quite a high level of practice. Then slowly, you become a Buddha, right? Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. Then, after you fully recognize Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, then you need to think, what is the relationship between me and sentient beings? Sentient being. And this lifetime, we had parents. Without parents, we cannot be here. Parents. Then we need to think how the parents are so important for us. Particularly among the parents, mom is so important, right? So then remember the kindness of our mom, of our mother of this life. Then, yes, I have a mom so important, so kind to me in this life. That means I must have a mother in my previous life. Right? So if there's a previous life, then definitely we were a sentient being. We were not a piece of rock in the previous life. If we have a previous life, that means we were born, from someone. Then we have a mother in the previous life. Then we think about the previous life. The previous life, going to be, beginningless time. Beginningless, countless. Our life has a countless. That means we had a countless mothers. Then you should think, all sentient beings are so kind to me, so I must, do something for them. For example, when your mother, gets sick, when your mother become old, or your father become old or get sick, you always try to do good for them. Then why not? We must do good for them, all sentient beings. That means whatever you act for benefit of, welfare of all sentient beings. Right? A sentient being. Then slowly you generate bodhicitta. Whatever I do for other benefit. How I can benefit, how I can give benefit all sentient beings? I cannot, because this moment, I myself, I don't have the ability, right? I don't have the power. If I am become a Buddha, then I will have all the, power to benefit all sentient beings. Just simply think about Buddha Shakyamuni. We don't need to think, he's a Buddha. Just simply think about Buddha Shakyamuni. He was just 1%. He practiced for, many years. Finally, he gave a teaching. Now you can see, the teaching can benefit how many peoples, right? So that's why, in order to, give a fully benefit for sentient being, that you should think I need to become a Buddha. How I can become a Buddha? Yes, generate the bodhicitta, practice of the 6 paramitas, within the 6 paramita, practice of emptiness is so important. Then slowly you can understand, among the practices, ethical discipline is very important, is a root or foundation. That's why you can say discipline and so forth. It is also the best way to desist from harming any living being. Then second, look continuously, aspire to practice the ethical discipline of those at higher levels. Right? So at this moment, there are so many practice of ethical discipline. Some practice we cannot practice this moment. For example, giving your life, giving your flesh, giving your hands and leg. We cannot. We wish, but we cannot, because we are not reach that level. So this kind of practice is quite high level. That means, look at, aspire to practice the ethical discipline of those at high levels, and then train your mind in it. Right? You should not think, this is a very high level, I cannot practice. You just do a lot of aspiration, do a lot of prayers, do a lot of chanting, do some accumulation merit to able to practice the high level of ethical discipline. For example, giving your life, giving your children, giving your hands and legs. Then second, continue to look at in it. Sincerely learn right now what to adopt and what to cut aside. Study with the ethical discipline of the beginning of Bodhisattva. Something we can practice right now. Right? Some types of ethical discipline, for example, not killing any sentient beings, not killing human being, stealing, no harming. Those things we can practice right now. Those are we must practice very sincerely. Some are we not able to practice now. Right now, we do a lot of aspiration, because those are discipline of the beginning of Bodhisattva. In particular, each day, frequently exercise in the altitude of restraint with the respect of what you know about this that are wrong by nature, as the then 10 known virtues. Something we cannot practice, do a lot of aspiration, must have a strong aspiration. Something which is can practice now, we must practice sincerely this moment. Then I think it's a bit difficult to understand for you, the little below. Once you do this, right, do this, you will be able to complete the Bodhisattva training in other lifetimes. That means, sudden practice you do sincerely right now. Sudden practice you cannot practice now, but you do a lot of aspiration, you do a lot of chanting and prayer to be able to practice. Then, once you do this, you will be able to complete the Bodhisattva training in other lifetime as the causally concordant behavior effect. Do you know the meaning this one? Causally concordance behavioral effect. You don't understand? Okay. So when we practice, when we study about the middle scope, then we study about karma, right? When we study about karma, the karma is four similar effect, right? Similar effect. For example, if you killed someone this life, next life you have a short life. It's a similar outcoming, right? Then second, if you sometimes you can have a short life. Then you kill someone this life, that means you harm others. The next life, many people, somebody harm you, right? That means causal means like a similar cause, because you did a lot of aspiration to practice high level of ethical discipline. That means you do similar, you accumulated similar kind of cause and condition, then you will have similar effect. That you're talking about causally concordance, behavioral effect. That means you kill someone, next you make a short life. Then you will have a short life. And also you did a lot of fish liberation. The fish liberate from the pound somewhere. You liberate. Then you make their life is longer. That means next life you have a longer life. It's a similar outcoming. Okay, this I think bit difficult to understand. This meaning similar, with the little difficult and with the little suffering. That means even though at this moment in this life, when you try to practice bodhicitta, you cannot, because you have a lot of obstacle. Even though you try to practice the bodhicitta with the lot of aspiration, lot of prayer, lot of chanting, with a lot of good condition, then slowly, after 2-3 years, you put little effort, you will be able to generate bodhicitta. You will able to generate bodhicitta with a little problem. That's why we should not mix up the two things. Why we need to do lot of why we need to accumulate a lot of merit and karma? Why we need to do a lot of chanting, recitation? Those are not our main practice. Okay, those are not the main practice we need to practice every day. But still we need to do a lot of chanting, we need to do a lot of offering, we need to do a lot of prostration, we need to do, because it accumulating virtues, is accumulating positive karma. When you have a lot of positive karma, positive action, then for you very easy to generate bodhicitta. For example, if your body is very weak, you wish to carry big luggage, big thing, but you cannot. In order to carry the luggage, big luggage, yes, you have a motivation to carry the luggage, big luggage, but you cannot, because physically you are weak. In order to carry the big luggage, what you need to do? You need to eat healthy food. You need to do a lot of exercise. You have to be more stronger, physically stronger. When you physically strong, if you are very strong, then you can carry the heavy luggage very easily, right? The accumulating merit, making, offering, all the good action is mainly for to have a strengthen in your mind to practice, bodhicitta and so and so. So we do opposite. Right? We spend little time with the practice of bodhicitta, great compassion, but we spend a lot of time with the religious activities. So we need both. We need both. As a beginner, you need to emphasize accumulating merit. Then should not do only this one, also try to emphasize to practice, generate the path. Otherwise, you try to you try to become very strong. You already become strong. You become more stronger, more powerful, but you never lift the heavy luggage. So what is the point to be physically strong? When you become physically strong, you must carry the heavy luggage. Once you accumulate merit, positive action, then you must practice. So you should not think it's difficult, but if you really try to practice, for example, at the beginning, let's say great compassion. At the beginning is a bit difficulties here and there, but continuously you try to practice great compassion, then day to day it become more easier for you. If you think it's difficult, that means yes, it's difficult for this life, and again difficult in next life. Right? We should not think it's difficult, should not neglect, should not forget to practice, the real practice. So this is kind of summary of ethical discipline. Then, if you neglect it, look here continuously, and however, if you neglect this thing now, you will be continually, turned by very grave faults and transgression. And moreover, for many lives, you will be unable to learn the Bodhisattva's training. So from now on, strive at the practice. Right? If we neglect the practice of ethical discipline, then you harm others. When you harm others, that means you are going to accumulate, very strong negative karma. Not only this, that you're not able to practice the ethical discipline in this life, that means you are not able to practice in next life. That's why we should not do like this. We just try to practice and nowadays. So from now on, stop at the practice. Okay, next we move the new topic. So what's the definition of patience? Perfection of patience. Without looking Lamrim. Huh? Okay, that means make sure you understood the meaning of patience. So when you talk about patience, you should not think only one part of patience, right? How many types of patience are there? Three. What are they? What are they? Then second one, suffering. Number three, and firmly maintaining the belief in them. Look at when we think about practice of patience, most of things, somebody harm you, I must be patient. We are thinking only one part of patience. When you think of patience, I must be patient if somebody harm me. I must be patient when I have a suffering. I have a problem. I must be patient. I must be patient when I have a difficulty to understand the Dharma, right? So many people give up in the at some have give up beginning of the practice of Lamrim, some have give up in the middle, some have give up practice of Lamrim, end of the Lamrim study because they thought it's so difficult to understand. They are not enough patient to try to understand. That means when we think about practice of patience, look at many occasions, many cases. Somebody say, "Oh, when you come back from your workplace, when you come to home, you say, "Oh, I'm today not happy. What happened? Oh, the person said this and that, right? That means you are not really patient to, harm by others. Harm can be physical harm or mentally harm or verbally harm. Somebody said bad thing about you, you get angry. There's somebody, accidentally push you, you get angry. Somebody look you very strange way, you get angry. Something very interesting, somebody look you very strange way, you get angry. Somebody look at you very nice way, also you get angry, right? Now how we can look at other person? All right? That's why we need, I think, very thick black glasses. That means in our life, many problems which we have because we are not, enough patient. We are always impatient. Particularly, when we have a suffering and problem, then we really say, I'm not happy because I have this problem, that problem, I have this suffering, that suffering, right? We always count the sufferings and problem, right? We never count the happiness and the joyness. Have you ever count how many happy time today I had? When you come back to your home, you say, oh, I'm very happy because my salary is increased. Right? You never say, I'm very happy because I generate compassion. Right? So that's why, practice of patience is very important. That means number one, if somebody harm you or physically harm you, you should not be angry and upset. Because, for example, somebody harm you physically, they already harm. He hurt you, right? He hurt you. If you get angry, upset, it doesn't mean the hurting, right? The suffering become reduced. No, you already harm. For example, somebody hit you very strongly, with the motivation, already hit you, you get strong, pain. And get angry, upset, it doesn't mean, the pain going to reduce. There's no point to get angry, upset. Then second, accepting the suffering, right? Accepting the suffering arising in your mind stream, right? So for example, so this is mainly related to, taking and giving and taking, practice of giving and taking, practice of giving and taking. Number third, make sure, being certain about the teaching and firmly maintaining the belief in them. So when you have a little difficulties to understand emptiness, when you have a difficulty to generate bodhicitta, you should not think, you should not just give up. Think about, when at the beginning, when you went to school, you have a big difficulties to recognize the alphabet, right? But you paid, every day you put effort, every day you go to school, finally you become, very good in English. Right now you think, study Lamrim or studying, Heart Sutra, practice, great compassion, renunciation is very difficult. Yes, at the beginner it's difficult. It doesn't mean you cannot practice. If you put effort continuously, one day you think, wow, I thought it was very difficult, not that difficult, right? So that means it's so important to have, maintained the belief and firmly maintaining the belief in them. There are three set of factors. So though, in order to practice three of them, there are three types of obstacles incompatible with this. For the first, hostility. Hostility is the big obstacle to practice disregarding harm done to you. Second is hostility and loss of courage is the main cause, not able to practice, not able to accept the suffering arising in your mind. The third is what? The third is the third disbelief and dislike. If you disbelieve in Buddhahood liberation, then you're going to give up practice of Dharma, right? If you don't like Dharma, you don't believe in Dharma, then you're going to give up practice of Dharma and Lamrim. So that's why it's so important, all of us, we already believe in Dharma, we follow the Dharma. Some are, among us, some are still unsure, not sure, because there's there's a true way how to introduce Dharma, two different ways, two different, ways to how to introduce Dharma. For example, if you really, among you have your younger brother, younger sister, you have a younger, very young, friends, they are very free thinker. They are very free thinker. Even though, somebody totally against with the Dharma, then suddenly you can say, oh, you must be believe in Buddha, you must be believe in Dharma, Sangha. They cannot, they won't believe. They say, why? Where's the Buddha? I cannot see. Where's the Dharma? I cannot see. Have you believed Dharma? Yes. You say, yes, I believe. If they ask you, have you ever seen Buddha? No. So how you can believe in Buddha? Right? So there's two different ways to introduce Dharma. In the past, in the ancient time, people were very innocent. They believe, what the elderly people said, what the guru said, what the master says, what the chosen father said. They just believe. That time, most people are look like a sheep. Sheep. They show the green grass, the sheep will follow after you. Right? Even though if you show stick, the sheep also follow after you. Nowadays, the youngsters are not low like sheep. They are because since they're child, they went to school. Right? Then naturally they have a question in their mind. Why I have to believe in Buddha? Why I have to believe in Dharma? In the previous years, we can introduce Buddha, Dharma. Oh, you must believe in Buddha, Dharma. If you don't believe Dharma, after you die, where you go in hell. Even though they never ask, is there hell or not? They never ask question. They feel scared. They just believe in Dharma. Nowadays, no. Now we have to do, the another way. We need to use the other way to introduce Dharma, which is, introduced by Mitriya Buddha, Ajita, right? Mitriya Buddha. So in the ornament of the teaching name Ngondo again, ornament of perfection, ornament of perfection, the teaching name. So he introduced, Dharma. Do you remember step number 1? True truths. True truths. Ultimate conventional truth. Second step, introduce Four Noble Truths. Third step, then he introduced Buddha Dharma Sangha. Look at, if you explain the true truths for the youngster who really don't believe in Dharma, they need to think. They cannot reject simply, oh, it is impossible. So first we have to introduce the true truths. Second, four truths. If they think about the four truths, then slowly they really need to think about the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. At the beginning, if you introduce Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, they won't believe. Okay, so anyway, if you have any, very youngster like brother or sister or relatives, you just explain the two truths. Then slowly explain the four noble truths. Then slowly explain the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. Okay, should not start, introduce just Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. They won't believe. That's why in the modern time, in the past, Tibetan people always believe what the, Rinpoche, what the Guru says. Nowadays they don't. Because one of the Rinpoche gave a teaching in Tibet. Then the Rinpoche talk about, the Nirvana, the liberation, the pure land, the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Then there was a group of youngsters. They said, we just wasting the time. He always talking about non-existent thing. Right? We just wasting time. He always talk about what? Non-existing, existing. Nothing exists, no pure land, no Buddha, no always talk, we just wasting time. They really think this way, we really have to introduce very carefully for the youngster, then they follow, Dharma. So patience is so important. So before we teach patience, first we must be patient. You must be patient. My own experience, after I came to Singapore, I met a person which is introduced by Chimba and Chung, right? Chung. He already have the depression, very strong. First, second, third level depression. Someday he called me like a midnight. Geshe La, I'm not happy. I cannot sleep. What should I do? At the beginning, I tried to give advice. Then it's so difficult to give on, talk on phone because my air become hot. Then it's mistakenly, or I said, I said, you just don't call me, just come to my room in the Gelang. Then he came to my room, and every day when he was not happy, he come to my room, he talk. Then I thought, I don't think I can, cure his depression. He put me in depression. Really. Then whenever he came to my room, I always close the balcony door. Make sure he won't jump there from there. I locked. Then when we talk something, he asked, Geshe La, may I sleep? Okay, I say, yeah, you can sleep. Then I really thought, I don't think I can have him. And also I cannot ignore his phone call. He is a very difficult situation. And then he talked, I always talk him. Then, which is very good, Then one day he really said, Geshe La, I don't think I can survive. I will take a suicide. He said to me. Then I was very scared. That's why I locked the door. Because he jumped, I was staying in the 14th floor. He jumped, he will die. That's why I lock. Then I said, one day he come again. Then I said, okay, are you really going to suicide? Then he said, yes, I will. No problem. Then I have one notebook. Then I asked him to use his mobile phone. We make a calculation. He is very worried about his money. He has a lot of money. Because he is just worried. He has some money. He knows the money is going to finish every day. Paying the electricity and so and so. He thought, there's not enough money. What happened if I finish my money? That's why he was very worried. Then I said, today you need to tell me the truth. What? Anyway, are you going to tell me the truth? He said, yes. How much money you have in bank? We make a calculation. How much money you have in bank? Yes, this money. He has his own house. How much cost if you sell this amount? He has a very expensive car, the sport car. I went he didn't. Okay, if you sell this car, how much money? Then I said, first you will finish your all money which you have in bank. Finish. Then you sell your house. Then you sell your cars. Then we make calculation, he has more than enough money. Then he thought, oh, like that. we did a serious calculation. Then he really thought, when I finish my money in bank, why not I sell my house? Sell house, rent, simple apartment. Then, spend all money. Then after sell the car. So, but we sell the car before. Because he thought it's very worried about car is very expensive. Because, in order to give a patient, in order to give a teaching, first you have to be very patient. It's my own experience. I really thought I cannot have. That's why patience is so important. So before you teach, someone be patient, you must be very patient. Always be patient. Or you should not mix up be patient and be lazy. Right? Somebody, say good thing, they don't care. Or say bad thing, they don't care. Right? Don't care. They don't have look like senses. But you must know somebody said very bad thing about you, you must aware. You must aware that the person is saying very bad thing about me, and you feel it, the anger is arising. It starting arising. You must you just subdue the anger. Or somebody say very good thing about you, somebody praise you, also you stand, you feel your ego is arising. Right? Ego is arising. Your pride, right? Pride is arising. Also, you must know the arising, the pride also is a negative. The anger also a negative. Somebody said very good thing about you. You try to, subdue, start to, surprise, start to eliminate. Anger arise, but you let it arise, experience. Then you try to, reduce, try to eliminate. But you should not be look like a rock and somebody say good thing, you don't have any feeling. Somebody say bad thing about you, you don't have feeling. Then you cannot practice the Dharma. Right? So this is what I want to say. Someday we can see, someone practices Buddhism for many years, and still you can see the person in depression. Is very unfortunate. And also you can see, for us, even though we practice Buddhism for many years, but our mind is not that healthy. Right? Our mind is not that healthy. Very easy to get upset, very easy to get angry, very easy to, ignore other people, other person, other beings. That means we are not really practicing Dharma. If we always truly, purely practice Dharma, you won't lose patience very easily. You won't get upset, angry very easily. Because when you start to get angry and upset, you must know how to apply the remedies. If you don't know how to apply the remedies, that means you don't know how to practice Dharma. Even you know how to use the remedy, if you won't use, that means you are not, really practice Dharma. That's why I always told, everybody, I said, the anger, attachment, everything, even though look at the, sickness or disease, the sickness never come, if somebody really, cut your, hands or legs by a knife, it's cut very quickly. We can see it's become very big. But naturally, all the sickness or disease, it start from very small amount. It start from small, then become more bigger and bigger. We always notice when it become quite bigger. When we notice when it become very serious. It is same, in the external world, internal world. Somebody say bad thing about, then the anger not arise in 0 degree to 100 degree, just just there's a it's a time from 0 degree, then 10 degree, 20 degree, 100 degree. Most time we are aware when the anger already reach 100 degree. they're so difficult to, reduce. It's already there, it's become so strong. So that's what you need to do, what we need to do. We always look at our mind. If somebody say good thing about you, make sure, the ego, the pride is not really arising very strongly. When you know it start to arise, you just use the antidotes or remedies and reduce. Same anger, attachment, everything, you must know, you must aware, now it's starting. Then very easy to control. If you're able to control at the beginning, then you never ever going to have a strong anger, strong attachment, very strong, disappointment. We feel difficult because we always notice when you reach to the 100 degree, 90 or 80 degrees. That's why it's difficult to reduce. Okay, next we study a little bit about the patience. It has at the beginning there are 5 parts. What is the patience? We just finished the definition of patience. The how to begin the cultivation of patience. Then number 3, the divisions of patience. Number 4, how to practice. Number 5, the summary. Now, it's always same, when you practice generosity, any kind of 6 parameters, any practice of Buddhism, you must think about, the benefit, and the false or the lost. So, when you think about the benefit, then you feel I want to practice. Also, if you think if I don't practice, what will happen? If you think the bad consequence, then suddenly you feel I must practice. You always, meditate on the benefit and the loss. So here, if you practice patience, what benefits you can have? If you don't practice the patience, what loss, what kind of faults you will have? You always compare the two things. Also, when you try to explain, Dharma to someone, also you just explain the benefit of practice of Dharma and, the harming, we can say the harming of non-practice of Dharma. For example, Dharma doesn't mean only chanting and recitation. For example, practice of compassion, also practice of Dharma. Then you just explain to someone, when you get angry, how do you feel? Right? When you feel angry, when you get angry, how do you feel? You feel I'm not happy. When you are not happy, then you very easy to make other people unhappy. That's why we have to tell the people, if you don't practice compassion, then you cannot get, you cannot subdue the anger. If you cannot subdue the anger, then first, number one, you always unhappy person, right? Then everybody going to accept, yes, when anger arising in my mind, I am not happy, I cannot sleep well, I cannot eat, I don't want to eat, I don't want to see anybody, right? Many people say, leave me alone. Many people say, leave me alone, because the person don't want to talk with anybody. Then the person can feel it, yes, anger is very bad. It harmed me, it made me unhappy, it made my friend unhappy. Then how we can, minimize the anger, how we can, reduce the anger, how we can eliminate anger. So many people said, when you get upset, angry, say just meditate on breathing, right? You say, take a big breath, release, which is very good. But it is not the proper methods to reduce anger. For example, when you get angry, upset, you just go in the coffee shop, drink, delicious coffee, you feel happy, right? After you came back home, again same thing, right? That means you are not using the right methods. because what you call we diverse, right? Diverse our mentality. So when you get angry, you must remember the person. Then remember how you get angry the person, why you get angry person with the person. Then use certain logics and certain reasoning and just generate the compassion towards the same person. I have told many times, you get angry with Mr. A, you generate compassion to Mr. B. It doesn't work to reduce anger towards Mr. A. Right? That's why this is a very popular saying in Tibetan. The bad spirit in the west, the west direction, you throw the turma in the east. Right? We Tibetans say, the bad spirit in the west, you throw the turma in the east. You must throw the turma in the west, where the bad spirits are there. That means you must practice compassion whom you get angry. You must practice, use all the remedies which you have a negative thoughts. That's why we should know how to reduce anger. Step number one, just try to do simple kind of breathing exercise, simple methods to try to be calm. Still you are not really happy, you can feel the anger is still there, right? If somebody, when you listen the music, when you really get angry, you just listen the music, suddenly look like your mind become very bit calm. Still you can feel it, your heart is beating very fastly. Then think about the person, why I'm angry. Then just recognize the person and generate the compassion to the person. The step number one, you simply do a lot of some exercise. His Holiness said, when you get really angry with someone, if you have a strong attachment, towards someone, you should not just sit in one seat. Just move around, walk around, move around. Is help to minimize. First minimize. Second, try to reduce, then try to eliminate. Okay, that's why always contemplate between the benefit and the harm. We Tibetan we say Payun Nyimik. We use the Nyimik. Payun mean benefit. Nyimik mean kind of harmful. If you practice patience, you can have a lot of benefits. If you don't practice patience, you will have a lot of harmful. Right? That means how to beginning the cultivation of patience, the division of patience, how to practice samadhi. So then there's a lot of pages just talking about the benefit and faults. Now we just little bit study about the benefit. Although there are many ways, page number 153, right? Although there are many ways to cultivate patience, there's many different ways you can cultivate patience. To begin, I will explain the meditation on the benefit of patience and the faults of the not beginning being patience, right? There's two things important. Then the benefits are set for in the Bodhisattva levels. Initially, Bodhisattvas consider the benefit of patience. They think persons who have patience will not have many enemies. Later on, will not have many separation from those to whom they are close. Benefit 2, right? Benefit number 3, they will have much happiness and contentment. Then number 4, they will have no regret at the time of death. And upon that disintegration of their bodies, they will also be reborn among the deities in the happy realms of higher states. Then there are a lot of benefits, right? One, if you practice patience, you won't have any enemies. Then you won't have a lot of separation. You always, being close with everybody. Then also, if you practice patience, you always be happy. You always be very contentment. Then after moment of the death, you won't have any regret. Also after death, then you will take a rebirth in the higher realms. By looking at such as benefit, they too are patient. For example, when you practice patience, even though among your family, if you always be patient, always be, practice patience, then other people, other family also, feel, wow, he or she is always nice, always happy, because he practice patience. Then other people think, I must practice patience, right? By looking at such as benefit, they too are patient. They engage others in the upholding the patience, and they also praise patience. When they see patient person, they are delighted and full of joy, right? These are the benefit. Now, if you don't practice patience, so this is something. If you don't practice patience, what are the faults? What faults are? The page number 154, I think almost end of the page. With respect to the faults of anger, the invisible faults, and there's two types of faults. One is invisible, one is very visible. If you don't practice patience, then for you very easy to get anger, right? Anger. When anger arises within your mind, it destroys your virtues. This is invisible faults, right? Look at the sentence, by Shindideva. Any good deeds such as the generosity and worshipping that you have collected over 1,000 eons are all destroyed in one moment of anger. Very scary, right? One moment anger can destroy all the good things. Then next, I think almost after anger, this visible thing, invisible thing. Then what is the visible faults of be impatient or not practice patience? Is page number 157. Again, end of the pages, end of the page. 157, right? Yeah. Right? 157. The faults of the anger visible in this lifetime are, they do not experience a peaceful and good mind. Right? Is very visible. We can talk based on our experience. When we get angry, then we don't have a peaceful and good mind. We don't have a peaceful mind, we don't have a good mind. Then the joy and happiness that you have previously preached, right? Preach. You can see when you get angry, then happiness, preach. Then again, you cannot regain them. You cannot sleep well, and you weaken the stability wherein in your mind stay calm. Then before you have a very calm mind, when anger arises, the calm mind is totally weakened. When you have great hatred, even though for whom you formerly can forget your kindness and kill you, even though you are very close to someone, if you are a very angry person, always angry person, then your friends also forget you are good friend with them, then they also harm you, right? You can see based on my experience, among my relative, one of my relative, he likes to drink alcohol. So, when he take alcohol, he always become crazy. Without taking alcohol, he's very good, very calm, very practitioner. He always do a lot of chanting, recitation. When he drink, he become crazy. Always fighting with friends and neighbors, so and so. Oh, I don't think we can have class. Paris, we can. Yeah. Okay, then we do the sonam. We must do the dedication. I don't think we can hear. It's going to take a long time.
Right, or is it us?
Yeah. Oh, 看到. Yeah. It takes a long time to finish. Anyway, so this story, okay. Among my relatives, he always loves to drink alcohol. Usually he's very nice. Then one day he get very crazy, always fighting with the family, fighting with the relatives, fighting with the neighbors. And one day I had a conversation with my sister, half sister. So she's the real sister of my relative, real sister. The sister told me, whenever we have a like a gathering in Ladakh, when there's a gathering, there's always alcohol. It's very culture. He always say, wherever there's a gathering, number one, I always worry about my brother. In the morning when he woke up, he always look at his house, make sure they can see smoking. And when they see smoking, mean they are okay, he's okay. Then he said, I'm very upset. Anyway, after we die, we weren't born, we're going to die. When he died, I never have any kind of sadness. He said, I never have any disappointment, never ever have a sadness. Then look as the anger is very bad. Everybody make unhappy. Okay, so now I think we do the dedication prayers. It's quite noisy.